The truth about living in Bellaire, Texas in 2026. Watch before you buy. Most people think Bellaire is just another quiet Houston enclave where nothing really changes. Same streets, same field, same price tag. But here's the thing, Bellaire in 2026 looks almost nothing like it did 5 years ago. If you're relocating here to the Houston area and you have been casually strolling past Bellaire and Zillow thinking it's either too expensive or too sleepy, you're working with the wrong information. This city is in the middle of a quiet transformation, and the buyers who understand what is happening right now are positioning themselves incredibly well. This video is for the person who is serious about finding the right neighborhood, not just any neighborhood, is what I would say. Hi, welcome back. I'm Natasha Carroll, your Houston area real estate expert, and today we're breaking down one of the most underrated cities in the greater Houston market, Bellaire, Texas. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which pockets of Bellaire are worth your attention in 2026. What is it that's actually driving the changes here, and how do you think about value before you ever schedule a showing? If this is the first time you're here, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because I cover the Houston market every single week with the kind of local insight you just cannot get from an algorithm. First, we're going to talk about a tiny city with a surprising big identity is what we're going to call it. Let's start here, because this is what catches most people off guard. Bellaire is not a neighborhood inside of Houston. It is its own incorporated city, completely surrounded by Houston, with its own city hall, its own police department, and its own school system connected to the Houston Independent School District. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, Bellaire covers just 3.5 square miles and has a population right around 18,000. That is a small city, and the smallest is precisely why it functions so different from the surrounding sprawl. What that means for you as a buyer is that the city government is responsive. Infrastructure, it gets maintained, and the community's identity is tight. You're not a random resident in a 600,000 person metro. You are a Bellaire resident, and there is a real pride attached to that. This is one of the reasons demand has stayed remarkably stable here, even as other Houston submarkets have softened. Now, that stability does not mean prices have been standing still. Let's talk about it. What is it actually doing right now? Next, we're gonna cover the price reality check you're actually needed. Here's where I want to give you the honest picture, because a lot of people either assume Bellaire is out of reach or they underestimate how competitive it still is. According to recent Redfin data, median sales price in Bellaire, it's hovering around that 1.2 million to 1.3 million range, reflecting continued demand for one of Houston's most sought after interloop communities. According to the Houston Association of Realtors, inventory has ticked up modestly across the metro, giving buyers slightly more breathing room than in 2022. But Bellaire's move-in ready homes, they're still moving quickly. Days on market here run considerably shorter than the broader Houston range. The takeaways is in the $700,000 to $900,000 range, you'll find real opportunities. Above 1.2 million, you're competing in a selective pool. And if you're waiting for a dramatic price drop, that data simply does not support the narrative for this specific city. That covers the financial landscape. But here's something that's reshaping the physical identity of Bellaire that most buyers are completely missing. We've talked about what makes Bellaire structurally unique as a city and what the pricing reality looks like in 2026. And if you're already feeling like there is a lot to sort through, I want to make sure you have enough of something concrete in your hands. I put together a free relocation guide specifically for people moving to the Houston area. It covers the best neighborhoods, the top schools, cost of living comparisons, and a lot of local details that just can't be found about the real estate market or or on a real estate portal. You can grab it using the link in the description box below, of course. It is the same resources I share with my private clients, and it is completely free. Now, let's get into what is genuinely reshaping Bellaire right now, because this next part is the one that surprises most people. Next, we're going to talk about the tear down wave and what it actually means for buyers. This is a revelation. Bellaire has been in the middle of a sustained tear down cycle for the better part of a decade, and it has fundamentally altered the housing stock. Older ranch-style homes on generous lots are being purchased, demolished, and replaced with modern new construction. According to the local permit data tracked by the city of Bellaire, new residential construction permits have maintained elevated, reflecting continued builder confidence in this sub-market. What this means for a buyer is that the street you're looking at may have 1970 bungalows sitting next to a brand new 4,500 square foot contemporary home. That contrast defines Bellaire's current character, and it creates two very different buyer strategies. If you want new construction with all the modern finishes, the warranties, the energy efficiency, Bellaire has it. If you want to buy an older home at a lower entry price, either renovate or hold the land, that opportunity, it also exists, though it is shrinking as the teardown inventory gets absorbed. The street level insight I will give you in this is this: the most desirable new construction clusters in Bellaire are concentrated around Evergreen and Newcastle corridor and the blocks closest to Bellaire High School. Those areas, they carry the strongest long-term resale logic. It's something for you to think about. Next, we're gonna cover the school story that drives everything else. I cannot talk about Bellaire without addressing the school conversation, because for most families, it is the #1 driver. Bellaire High School, which feeds the Houston Independent School District, is home to one of the most established international baccalaureate programs in Texas. In fact, Bellaire has been an IB World School since 1979 and was the first school in Texas authorized to offer the IB diploma program. The school is also known for its strong academic offerings, world languages, magnet program, advanced placement coursework, and of course, the long-standing reputation for college preparation. That reputation does real work in the housing market. Families relocating from out of state, particularly from competitive academic markets on the coast, will often pay a meaningful premium to be in Bellaire. It is not just perception. Across housing markets nationwide, highly regarded schools tend to support long-term housing demand and property values. Bellaire is one of the clearest examples of that dynamic inside of Houston, I would say. Next, why Bellaire's location is the most underrated asset is what we're going to talk about. Let's bring this back full circle to the hook. The reason Bellaire is changing is not just the new construction or the school rating. It is the location advantage, finally getting the recognition it deserves. Bellaire sits at one of the most strategically valuable positions in the Houston Metro. You're minutes away from the Texas Medical Center, which, according to the Texas Medical Center Organization, is the largest medical complex in the world and one of Houston's largest employers. You are close to the Galleria, you're connected to 610 Loop, and you're avoiding long-hour commute that defines a life in the outer suburbs. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, healthcare and professional services employment in Houston Metro, it continues to grow. As a medical center expands, the demand for housing within a reasonable commute radius, it intensifies. Bellaire is the answer for a physician, a researcher, or a hospital administrator who wants to be close to work without living in a high-rise or sacrificing a yard. That is long-term value proposition of Bellaire in one sentence. Urban access with a neighborhood feel, and that combination is genuinely rare, I would say, inside Loop 610. Bellaire in 2026 is a city in the productive evolution. It is small enough to feel like a true community, close enough to Houston's economic core to make daily life efficient, and academically strong enough to hold long-term family demand. The teardown cycle has modernized the housing stock, and the home values remain among the strongest in the Houston inner loop market, reflecting sustained demand rather than short-term speculation. And the modest inventory increases across the Houston metro gives today's buyers slightly more leverage than they had during a peak year. Whether you are a medical professional prioritizing a short commute, a family chasing school ratings, or a buyer thinking long-term land value, Bellaire rewards whoever does their homework before making an offer, which is very, very important. If you're seriously considering Bellaire or anywhere else in the greater Houston area and you want someone who actually knows these streets, I would love to connect. My contact information is in the description box below. You can text me, you can email me, whatever works best for you. Give me a call as well. And before you go, grab our free relocation guide. It has the neighborhood breakdowns, school ratings, and the cost of living details that will save you hours of research. That link is also below. And if you're still deciding where to live, I've got another video that will help you narrow down your choices. Of course, I'm Natasha Carroll. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.